Hello, divine woman. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Very good. I only saw you, a matter of days ago, but you're out of the vortex now. So listen, before we begin, please introduce yourself to these amazing women.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, I am Courtney Haddle. I am 29 years old and live in Colorado in the United States.
So beautiful. I love Colorado.
It's gorgeous.
I actually takes me back. I did a ski season in Aspen when I was 18
Ooh.
and worked on the gondola.
I,
Met Jerry Seinfeld too and told him that he needed to improve his comedy. How's that?
that's awesome.
Anyway, let's dive in. You're looking so gorgeous. And I want to acknowledge that you are 29 and you invested in yourself at such a fantastic time in your life, Courtney. You came in little girl energy and have come out as a woman, which is profound. So let's just do something. I'm going to be, the big bad witch and just take you back to where you were. You might want to close your eyes, connect with your heart space to actually connect back in with that version of you, Courtney, when you booked that call with my team. What wasn't working? How did you feel being Courtney?
Yeah, I remember it so distinctly because it was days after being dumped. And I just remember thinking, again, like, what is wrong with me? Why is it that when I put myself out there, I'm not good enough, or I find people who have baggage, and then all of a sudden it's like they want to focus on themselves rather than be in a relationship. And strange enough, like I can feel it coming, but yet I'm putting my all into somebody who's not putting their all back into me.
Now, that's a really important point that I just want to elaborate on. So, for those of you listening, I'm sure you are nodding your head. You can identify with that horrible place that we put ourselves in as women until we actually do the work, where you just said you could feel it coming. Yet you were then, was that having you try even harder?
Yep.
So you were overcompensating, reaching, right? Treading over your own boundaries.
I was trying to be what I thought would be what he wanted in order for him to stick around.
And what actually happened? Did that have him pull away even more?
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
That's so annoying and frustrating and hurtful. And I have done that so many times.
Yeah.
It's like a reflex in us women. If we are operating out of our wounds, we're operating out of, I'm not good enough. I've got to try, maybe I'll try this. Maybe I'll try that. If I do this, if I do that. And so we're moving further and further away from our essence and the wholeness of who we are. And we're operating out of scarcity and not enoughness. So what happened once he moved away? Like, he said, I'm out. What did that have you feel about yourself?
I so distinctly remember it. Like I got the text message because it came through text, and like I remember shedding a tear. Like I just cried, but I was also numb to it because I was like, I knew this was gonna happen. Like I expected it, but I was still super sad. And then it was like literally this feeling of like, what did I do wrong? Like what else could I have done to be better? Yeah. And then even just who I am, I was like, okay, good for him. Like he needs to focus on himself. But then I immediately went to, all right, I need to focus on myself now too. Like I need to, and I don't like using the word fix, but I need to fix this is where I was at.
Heal. You need to heal that part of you.
Yeah.
So if we just go back to kind of more of that visceral feeling, because there are women right now watching this who are definitely, not feeling excited that we're coming to the end of 2020, not where they want to be, in that kind of holding pattern of shit, really. How did you feel deep down inside of yourself? Like, were there a lot of tears? Was there a sense of giving up? Or what was it for you?
There was a lot of sadness that this had happened again because it wasn't the first time that this has happened. And it was really just pure frustration and kind of, I guess, anger and sadness that I put myself out there again to feel to feel like I'm not good enough, to feel like I wasn't good enough for somebody. And
Yeah,
I was so hurt and angry at myself.
totally. And those feelings that you mentioned were coming up, which is, what else do I have to do? Like, what is wrong with me? So a lot of self-blame in there.
Yep.
It's a horrible, horrible place to be. And, it's not something I like to reminisce about myself, but I 100% have been there. And it just makes you feel like you slip into this void.
Yeah.
Like it's just you start to feel like, well, maybe I'm not destined for this. I'm not good at this.
Yep.
So what had you been doing before you came to Soul to Soul? Had you been, doing like reading self-help books, listening to podcasts? Like, what are the sort of things you've done already?
Yeah. Tons of podcasts, tons of kind of like reading through other women's journeys on how they kind of like fix themselves or healed themselves, or how to attract the right man. And I just remember, I mean, even like I had this mentality prior to all of this of being broken, and like I'd been through therapy on like codependency and trying to essentially heal these areas of myself that I felt were broken.
Okay. And so then when you came to Soul, like what was that voice inside of you still saying? Like, it's not healed yet, or none of it? Like, were you feeling like it was helping you and it was working, or were you feeling like it was sort of you going around in a loop?
Yeah, like I did feel like it was going around in a loop. It was like I would get little nuggets of maybe things that seemed useful, but then like putting them in practice or along the path, it would be like, okay, that didn't work. Like, why not? Or it just didn't feel like I had done enough. Really.
Okay. So then what had you get on a call? What drew you to doing Soul to Soul?
Yeah, honestly, I watched the master class, and this was within, I gotta say, probably like 3 days of him dumping me. And I was like, oh my God, everything Lucy's saying, that's me, that's me, that's me, that's me. And I remember like I did the master class, and within a day, I think I had my first call. And that was just, it spoke so much to me. Like I remember getting emotional and feeling into that call, and then of course like reviewing testimonies, and I found Kate Taylor's testimony, and I was like, oh my God, like this is the woman I just spoke with, and this is her testimony, and everything she's saying sounds like me and who I want to become. Like I'm getting emotional thinking about it, but yeah.
I'm getting chills. And
Yeah.
and there are going to be women that watch this and are saying the same thing about you, Courtney. Like, this is what's so powerful about the collective, is we are all here to lift each other up, to rise. Like, that is why I only work with the collective, because it's like a rich tapestry where all of our stories and all of our wounds, and then when we start to actually transmute that, you start to lean on each other's shoulders and you prop each other up. And that's what we're on this planet to do, is to connect, to see ourselves in each other and go, oh, if you can do it, then I can do it.
Yes.
So anyone that's watching Courtney right now, especially when she gets to the juicy bits of where she is now, like, just know that she went on a journey to take the path less traveled. And so we're going to get to that now. But what was that moment for you like when you said yes to yourself on the call?
I have to say that it was scary at first, because I'd never said yes to myself and made this type of investment in myself.
Yeah.
Ever. And so like doing it for the first time, it was kind of this like, what just happened?
Yeah.
But also like so freeing and so invigorating that it was like, I finally have chosen myself, and I finally have made that investment that I know I'm changing my life.
Yes. Listen, for those of you that are sitting on the sidelines that know that you need to do this work, whether it's with me or with someone else, you just need to do the work, right? You know that it's blaring you in the face. Nothing is ever going to change when you're trying to do it from your comfort zone. When you're trying to do the bare minimum and you're just being lazy with your life, you are not going to get a different future. I wish someone had whacked me over the head with a saucepan when I was just doing the healing, reaching for this, reaching for that, getting other people to heal me instead of me actually rolling up my sleeves and diving into the parts that hurt. Because that's what this journey does. So if we just dive into your beautiful experience, what was the 8 weeks like for you? Obviously without going into the modules and any of that stuff, but what was the experience like for you? Why was this different to the years and years you'd spent trying to solve this?
Yeah. I have to say it was because of the collective, because of the vortex, and having my soul sisters to not only up level me and support me, but also give little pieces of like, hey, you need to dive deeper here, or have you tried this? Especially when that resistance would come up. Again, we feel into it, but really just when I would have those moments of like fear, it was nice to know that I had those women supporting me as well. Yeah.
It's the support, it's the feeling held, right? When we feel, I can speak to this personally, my life is significantly different because the last, intensive support that I've had, I'd say it's been the last sort of 5-6 years. That has given me a dramatically different lifestyle, because when we feel deeply held and supported, we honestly feel like we can spread our wings and do anything. So I always got to call you Chelsea. It's so funny. So it's all the time. I'm like, no, I'm going to go with Chelsea. I'm like, Courtney.
I have to say that's so funny though, because like, watching the Queens in Demand pre-videos and Chelsea talking, I'm kind of in love when you say that.
I love Chelsea so much. I probably see a little bit of you in her, and that's why I just go there. It's so odd, but it's cool. But yeah, that is like really what you're speaking to, isn't it? That imagine if we were just, because I've had people say, I don't want to work in the collective, I just want to work with you privately, Lucy. I was like, you think that you do, you don't. Because when you are hearing other people opening up and starting to hear their vulnerability, their wounds, their fears, for me and like for you, it's like, oh my God, I'm not alone with this. Oh my God, other people feel this way too. I'm not this weirdo. It's like, wow. And you suddenly feel understood and seen.
100%.
So that's why I get so lit about who the universe sends me, people like you, Courtney. And it's never a coincidence on who you're in the vortex with and what you're going through, is it? You know, with the people that you're in there with. It was just, they're like handpicked for you.
100%. I mean, even I love thinking about my relationship with Jessica, one of my soul sisters, and we have very similar histories. And I would just, anytime she would hop on and share, like it made me feel good and like to help her and inspire each other back and forth, and just know that although different, like I had someone in the vortex who understood very deeply what I was going through.
Yes, and to feel understood.
Yes.
Means that we really feel seen. I want girls to hear this, because I didn't used to feel seen. I used to be overcompensating like a mother freaker, and it's exhausting and it's toxic, and it's us hanging ourselves out to dry. We're basically abandoning our greatness because we're so busy trying to get validity from every man and their dog, and from people that are actually insignificant too. You know, like this guy that you were with, he didn't deserve you. So you're basically trying, may as well be trying to fix, help a wall, trying to get a wall to stay dating you. That's what it's like. So what was the most profound part of your experience in Soul to Soul? What has been one of the biggest shifts that you've received for yourself, thinking of Courtney before and now Courtney after the 8 weeks?
Yeah, and I have to say,
I sort of say, because I know that you girls watching this will go, how much can you really change in 8 weeks?
I have to say, really just this trust in myself. And even in my second week call with Marty, and this didn't come into play until very recently, she mentions the fact that Courtney, as in previous Courtney, little girl Courtney, never really trusted herself. And I have that now, like 100% trust myself, and feel, when I slow down and listen to myself and listen to my heart, I have the answers. Like my intuition guides me 100%. So like trusting myself and truthfully trusting that the universe has my back.
Huge. Like making me emotional, because that's what so many of you watching this like, I know you're feeling this deeply, because that's what we do, is we don't trust that we are enough. We don't trust our instincts. We don't trust that we're going to know that he's the right guy when he's in front of us, because we're so busy people pleasing. We're so busy living from 20% of who we are, if that, instead of being all in. And then suddenly you might be all in, right, for a month. And then suddenly, if you're just not feeling it, you're like, hey dude, just FYI, like, I'm not feeling this. But in your old Courtney, you would have stayed in that trying to make it work and overridden your instincts, because you're like, no, I have to make things work. I have to, you know, what's that word I want to say? Hang myself out to dry, basically. Whereas now, when you have this trust, it's moment to moment to moment, where suddenly it's like when you are literally driving and you're suddenly getting instincts to go, oh no, I don't think this is the way. Well, old you would have just kept going, no, this is the way, it says it. But your instincts now are like, no, this is not the way, I'm going to stop.
Yep.
And reflect and feel, is this really the way? It's so powerful. That's going to prevent you from, going and having children with the wrong guy. This is going to prevent you from walking down the aisle going, no, this, I knew when you look back on it that I should never have walked down the aisle. But the reason people do is because it's from scarcity. And I would rather just have the guy than, heaven forbid, actually face myself and be truthful. Trust me, you don't want to go through life with the wrong guy. This is like 24/7, especially in a lockdown. You got to love this person, especially when you bring kids into the world. You want to love this person. Some people have children to try and make the relationship better. That's just so freaking hectic, like low vibrational. And this is if you're watching this, I am not putting judgment on you. There's a reason you're in this community. And you have an opportunity to make new choices. Okay. I have women in my vortex who have, broken up from marriages and do have children. They're in the vortex right now. And I think they're some of the most courageous women that do solve, right? So there's no judgment here, but I'm just reminding you that you have a choice. And when Courtney said now that she trusts those whispers on her heart, and she trusts her instincts, she's got her own back. You can't get it wrong when you live from the heart. You can't get it wrong. And what else I heard you say was, I'm bringing all of me in, like the real you in. Before, it was this small version of you, protected version of you. This I'll be a chameleon and adapt version of you. That wasn't Courtney.
The vortex gives you that too. Like the vortex, being able to be vulnerable and authentic, the power and the love from being that person, being your truest self. Oh my gosh.
That's actually, what was that, your cat?
I probably.
That's so cute. That's something I just want to add on as well, that, I'm not teaching you girls that go through the program how to know about vulnerability. This is about actually activating and integrating what vulnerability actually is. It's about being vulnerable instead of knowing what vulnerability is. Big difference. Just hearing you talk like that is, it's got so much power to it. You're actually experiencing that in real time, right? Because I know other programs people go through and they're learning all these things, but it's just more information. That's not setting you up. It's about actually living it and then getting the taste of it. And then your muscle memory is like, oh, actually, I was vulnerable and I was really supported through that. Oh, it's safe to be vulnerable. Oh my God. I love it. I love it so much, seeing women like you coming in, and then just suddenly blossoming into this big version of yourself, because we need people in their fullest light. And right now you are just embodying so much juiciness. It's like you're sitting on this big secret. I feel like your soulmate is in the kitchen hiding somewhere.
Oh, he definitely is. He's on his way.
So what would you say to these divine women who are watching you and really feeling you deeply? What would you say to them? They're afraid. It's normal. We're afraid to actually really go, is this really going to work for me?
Yeah.
Is this really something I can do? Oh, I don't have the money. It's bullshit, because everyone can get resourceful. I always say, if you needed heart surgery, you'd find it in 24 hours. So what would you say to these beautiful women who are knowing that they want to do it, they're feeling it, but they're just holding back from actually taking that step?
Yeah, my first question would be like, do you really want to live the life of your dreams? Because it's possible. 100%. We create our desires and we can live our desires It's a matter of choosing you, and the moment you choose you and continue to
Yes.
choose you, because it doesn't just stop after the 8 weeks.
No.
It is the continuation of choosing you that you create the life you want and you get it.
Epic.
Yeah.
There it is. And it's something to revel in. You know, it's something to go, wow, I really took that big leap. And because people, like girls, you're investing in so many other ways. It's so easy to invest in a car, invest in going to a friend's wedding that's across the other side of the world. Not that we're doing that right now, but investing in university and all these things. We don't second guess it. You get resourceful, you do whatever you got to do. But here's the deal, the resistance you're experiencing right now is you've never once invested in yourself at a high level because of your lack of self-worth to go, well, that's extreme. I don't deserve that. But I can guarantee you're spending the money anyway. When you look back over the years of therapy, it's going to be more than soul to soul. It's just that this actually gets results. This gets outcomes. If you haven't got what you want in your life right now, don't keep waiting for another year to roll on by. Realize that you hold the keys to the kingdom. You are the creator. And you've got to be discerning enough to go, no, this shit's not working for me. I want the real deal. That's power.
Yeah.
That's you being intentional with your life. Like Courtney said, you know, she reveled. Yes, she was scared. And that's very normal when you say yes to yourself at this level. But you also felt liberated.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh my God. Like, I bet there was a huge shift energetically just by that yes.
Yeah.
Because it would have been very justified for you just to say, oh, that was a nice call, but no, I don't deserve that. How shit would that have been?
Mm-mm. I mean, you say, we all say, like, this is life or death. And it is, because really, like, continuing with my old story, like the old Courtney, that life would have been death. Like, that would not have been life. And I have said this several times, but I have never felt so alive like I do now because of this.
That's just, like, honestly, like, so epic, Courtney.
Yeah.
I mean, this color is reflecting you like sunshine right now.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel in your being right now?
I love this term, and I'm still trying to dive into what it means, but I feel so light. And I don't know if that's like lifted light or just shining light, but I feel light.
Because you're light. Yeah, you've turned your light on.
Yes.
Yeah. And what you can notice, girls, by looking at Courtney right now is she's not jazz handsing and trying to like give the best testimonial or show you, oh my God, this is so amazing and it works. Like, look at her. There's none of that, right? That is when I know someone's really shifted, is you're not here like having to jump up and down about it and impress me or impress these women. You're just sitting in your divine feminine energy and it is oozing out of you. And this is the beingness that I talk about. You know, when women come in, they're like, oh my God, I've come home to me. Mm-hmm. How had I not done this before? And that's how I felt when I came home to me. I was like, how did this take me 30 years to actually get? Like, what was I doing before? And I was grieving as well, like the old way of being, because I betrayed myself and I'd robbed myself of, you know, boundaries and all the things to fill me up, that it was a little heartbreaking to realize how I wasn't treating myself with love. So it's like this bittersweet thing once you get it to go, oh my God, I'm never going back there. But it's also a case of, wow, was I really doing that? Mm-hmm. Was I really hanging myself out to dry like that? Because it's just learned behavior that we just think that this is the way. So thank you for turning on your light and taking up space in the world and for showing other women what's possible, because you can't help but inspire the people around you just by being more of who you are. It's so, so, so inspiring to see, Courtney. And honestly, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on. If anyone wants to reach out to you, can they do that?
Absolutely, 100%.
Thank you, darling heart. That was amazing.
Thank you.